Yeah.
But I see so much online where my children are my best friend. The reference is, you're my best friend, you're my best friend. And in no way am I speaking down of it. I'm speaking from a perspective of it not being my experience.
Right.
And I truly don't understand it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the scenario puts a parent and a child where it's just them.
Yeah.
Right. And I think in a lot of cases, from what I've seen, that's where, I don't want to say it gets confused. From my perspective, it's confusion. Like, you're confusing the lines are blurred between, because you all you got.
Right.
And I can appreciate that, but still, I really don't understand it. And I think I think that's as in parallel with us parenting softer, and that's me speaking honestly, when you combine it with that, and now we're peers.
Right.
Your parent and child are peers.
Yeah.
I think that's driving some behaviors that I don't necessarily agree with.
They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend.
Getting accurate in here. Time has started. You guys see it. You see it. Clap on him.
Clap.
Y'all actually weren't supposed to see that. But anyway, let's get it. Welcome to the Dear Son Show. We have meaningful conversations about life through the lens of fatherhood. It's for fathers, those with fathers, and the fatherless. These are the conversations we want our sons to access as they grow through life in manhood. So no topics are off limits. I'm one of your hosts, D. Johns.
I'm James Johnson.
Jay,
like that?
Johnson?
Johnson.
See, I didn't know you didn't go to the top.
It's
but
got a flower on.
Okay.
It's the flower.
Okay, yeah. Mr. Johnson, man.
Johnson.
How you feeling, brother?
Feel good, man. Everything falling in line. Last episode or so. Last couple we've been speaking about. Little goals, objectives.
Yeah.
Checking boxes off.
Yeah. Went to the podcast workshop with David Shands and Johnny Dupatant.
Did.
They came to Dallas, and it was timely for me. How you feel about it? Because that's your first podcast workshop?
It was.
Okay.
That was my first, and walked away with a lot of new perspective. If is the best word I can come up with, because you'll approach a thing a certain way. You don't have experience with it. You never kind of had any dealings with it.
Yeah.
And then you talk to some guys that's some heavy hitters and have some real spins on. What about this?
Yeah. So sometimes it's like sometimes I'm on the fence when workshops come up, but I'm learning that I don't catch everything every time.
Right.
And that's something that I had to admit to myself, is that, I heard this before. But even hearing, I never heard Johnny present, because Johnny and I were actually going through Dave's mastermind together. That's how I met him.
Gotcha.
So I met him before he got on that rocket ship.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did, because that boy out of here.
Yeah.
But Dave just has his way with making information make sense.
Right.
And showing you how you can, right? And there's a couple of things that I picked up, need to double down on. Content, the velocity got to pick up.
Yeah.
I've been talking about a variety of things, the different types of shows, all in the same vein of, what the message is.
Right.
So I going to get to that. Taking want, and what was the other word I took out?
The funny
how, but it was another. It was struggling with.
Struggling
with.
Yeah.
So stop saying I'm struggling with stuff that I'm not really struggling with. Stop saying it's funny that when things are aligning and you see guys hand working.
Yeah.
So it was a good. It was a timely shot to the gut. I'm glad you were there, and it's cool to get your perspective, because I take some things for granted.
Right.
But I want to be more conscious of, this is what I'm doing and why. Just like when we set up the cameras and stuff, I like, hold on, let me at least say something about it. Because
Absolutely.
trying to do the one-man show in terms of producing is a lot.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, because a lot of times, like we joked about it that day, you'll catch somebody that'll have some information, or they'll be going through a process, and it's more of hoarding. They'll kind of be like, don't worry about what I got going on under this blanket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm thankful for that, because I'm steadily picking up something every time.
Yeah, I'm even from a an audience facing perspective, I'm cool with people. I've seen people have come around and they're kind of looking at how things are happening.
Yeah.
I know they're kind of picking it apart.
Absolutely.
And what's for us is for us.
That's
right?
it. That's it.
Our audience is our audience, and we're not unique in talking about what we want our sons to know or what young men should know growing up. But our perspectives, our experiences are unique, and that's enough.
That's enough.
That's
personality,
enough.
energy.
Yeah.
Good
The
luck.
production,
The production is so dope. But
not the two, but beep also beep. Yeah, man. We coming off of that high. And if there wasn't one thing that I didn't do, it's always something. Put my
what you got?
Put my do not disturb on. Do not disturb. Son, is yours on do not disturb? Speaking of which, my son is running Camera C. So it's a family affair, man.
It's a family affair, man.
And he actually took an interest to audio visual last school year.
Yeah.
So I haven't been pressing him, but this thing with not asking for help when help is upstairs or next door.
On standby. Ready and willing.
Yeah, ready and absolutely
and willing.
So salute to my son for providing this third angle perspective of how things working here, man. Since the time of year started, everything is true and accurate right now. Tonight, we're getting into a topic that's I don't know how it's going. I never know how the topics are going to go. I know the conversations are going to be genuine, transparent, but this one, might have some folks in the comments that disagree. Yeah. That's cool because we don't always disagree. That's not the point of the show,
right?
You'd have your own, I have my own. If it was about single perspectives, but tonight we talk about stay out of the friend zone.
Stay out of the friend zone.
Stay out of the friend zone.
Yeah.
And let's keep it on track. How we know do. What were your thoughts when you saw that hit the bank?
Initially,
like, share, subscribe. My bad.
Like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe. The biggest thing that jumped out to me initially, like normally you'll hear a topic and you'll go down left street. That's why we don't discuss it.
Yeah.
Because then if you say something, it may make me change my perspective on it. That's why we like that fresh, uncut
right now
reaction on the spot. So I initially thought it was talking about dating. I did. I looked at it as, son, be mindful of getting pushed in that old friend corner over there. Because you'll end up in a spot you thinking you're doing a good thing and wearing something down or wearing a person down. Mm-hmm. But you're only frustrating yourself because if you have a genuine interest in this person, but you're going at this as a friend, and then this person actually accepts you as a friend, and she confiding in you about this other guy. Yeah. You're not gonna like it, my boy.
That's a good point, man. Before we jump down the path that it's actually on, be clear.
Be clear.
Be clear that because playing the friend will keep you a friend. so if her approach it requires friendship first, which makes sense, a good foundation, but you absolutely need to be clear that and I'm in pursuit.
Right.
So if this is not. If you're not open to me pursuing you, I need to know up front.
You better say something.
Let me choose to operate on your terms.
No,
right?
No.
Because don't have me on friend zone and I'm dating you.
In my mind.
Yeah, I'm the only one.
Heather Headley, in my mind.
Yeah, man. But
so what about you? So you kind of hinted at it, and when you did, I could have cheated.
Yeah.
Like, let me adjust. I didn't know that's where we were going with it. But nope, I still put that out there. I'm excited and anxious to hear yours because here come the ruffle feathers.
Yeah, man. So it's I grew up. So my pops at the time of this recording is 74.
Yeah.
31 years older than me. So he's old school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
His dad was to be seen, not heard, not a lot of conversation. His dad also died when he was young. When my grandfather, I keep it in perspective, my grandfather died 40s or 50s, and my dad was early 20s, right? If I can get the math right, I'll put it in the description. But basically, when my dad became an adult, he went into the military, Vietnam. His dad died. He came home, buried his dad, went back. Wow. Kind of walked that in a couple of different episodes. But he didn't have a father as an adult.
Right.
And then the relationship that they had before, again, it was his father provided. 3rd grade education, but from what I understand, could build a house.
Yeah.
With no plans.
Man.
Like he was just a carpenter. He had the gift, and I looked just like him.
Right.
Supposedly my mannerisms and things are more his than my dad's. Yeah.
Right.
Never met him, of course.
Man.
But he all that to say, it was a very father-son relationship. And then if you take away the conversation, it's even less emotional, less endearing.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a lot of that. So my father told me growing up often, I'm your father, I'm not your friend.
Wow.
Yep. And he's very clear about that.
Right.
Even today, me at 43, him at 74, we are forming a friendship now.
Yeah.
It was always clear to me that this wasn't my homie, this wasn't yo, this wasn't bruh.
At no time.
At any point in my mind, let alone uttering those things.
Yeah.
So the conversation really is, we talked about how we've catered to our children. We become softer than we were raised.
Absolutely.
But I still hold the line of, I'm not your friend.
Oops. You hit me.
Watch your tone at
Please.
all times. Or keep that tone in your head.
I don't even want you to think it.
Let it not utter. Let it not utter.
Yeah.
But I see so much online where my children are my best friend. The references, you're my best friend, And I in no way am I speaking down of it. I'm speaking from a perspective of it not being my experience.
Right.
And I truly don't understand it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes the scenario puts a parent and a child where it's just them.
Yeah.
Right. And I think in a lot of cases, from what I've seen, that's where I don't want to say it gets confused. From my perspective, it's confusion. Like you're confusing the lines are blurred between because you all you got.
Right.
And I can appreciate that, but still, I really don't understand it. And I think I think that's as in parallel with us parenting softer, and that's me speaking honestly, when you combine it with that, and now we're peers.
Right.
Your parent and child are peers.
Yeah.
I think that's driving some behaviors that I don't necessarily agree with.
I feel like it can create a culture of too often, because I'm being mindful of my words.
I'm letting them slide tonight.
Too often you'll find yourself asking your kid how you feel about this, as opposed to this is in your best interest. And because you grew up in a culture of this what this is the way this goes, this how this must be. We spoke on that about parenting through ritual. You know what I mean? As far as you're going to get this trauma. I'm going to pass this down. This what they did to me.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do to you. But it's a line. So I feel like every generation they're testing the line, right? So that generation was very stern and it was handed down. This is what it is. The next generation after them, it turned into, I'm going to ease up. All the things I hated, the things I despised about my childhood being parented on, I'm not going to do that to my kid.
Parented on.
Yeah.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. So now we in almost a lawless generation because they had free reign.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to right that thing.
Right.
Let's go get them and reel them back in. Like, no, son, we made a little mistake here and there. Let me catch you and let's go back down this path.
Right.
Because you're too free. And there's a such thing as being too free. My wife and I talk about that often. There's a such thing as being too free. And I think that has a tendency to create that vibe of being too free, because now you have, like you say, teenagers telling Colin, their parent, bruh,
right,
hold on, bruh. Bro, girls talking to their mom, bro. Like, wait. So
it's that desire to be cool.
Yeah.
So I'm not straddling the fence, but I'm trying to consider other perspectives of, well, if they're my friend, they'll open up to me. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's one extreme. But how do you discipline your friends? I don't discipline you.
Right.
Right. That's
How
not
that go?
Yeah, that's not a conversation
Right.
for real.
Right. Right.
And then and also depending on the nature and the age or the age difference and what they see the parent operate in their regular life, then they think that they can have conversations with their parents like their parents have with their actual friends.
Yeah.
You're telling me you're my friend too. We talk about everything. I'm not talking about talk about everything, but because that's good. Like there are elements of it that I admire.
Right.
And I can imagine yield positive results.
Right.
I don't know how you turn that off and turn the discipline on in a timely fashion. Because if you're going down this path of, just like you see kids out in public, man, and I've spoken to my kids before, like we often got complimented on how they behave.
Right.
Whether we're here, overseas, or wherever, my kids would see somebody acting out. First thing they do is look at me, and I'm like, "You already know."
You know this.
They looking in shock, like, "How?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How did they get? What is that?"
Right.
Right. Especially Eli, the youngest boy, he'll be like,
I know they lying.
"Oh," I'm like, "Son, you
Right.
can run. You can run around, man. Go ahead, man. You out? You in the park, bro?
Yeah.
You in the park." But it's how do you? The danger to me is that, like, when you become friends so long and then at the point where they know so much, now it's not direction. It's, well, that's just your opinion, Mom. That's just your opinion, Dad.
I wouldn't advise it, son.
Right.
So I think I did, in my opinion, because we'll be like, I did a good job. I think I do well with lightening up, because I told you my first go at it, I'm not proud of at all.
Right.
So the correction that I feel like I put in place is I gradually kind of let my guard down in some areas. And there's no manual to it. There's no book on it, but you have to know, it depends on the personality of your kid. If they're already self-disciplined in a lot of areas, then you don't need me to be so stern in that area. So we can laugh and joke, and I know you're not going to take it and run with it. But if you do, tap, tap, tap on your shoulder, come on back now. Come on back. You passed the deep end.
Yeah.
So I think that's the perspective of play with it, but don't just be like, do what you want, son. Say what you want to me.
Right.
I'll never feel like that, because it's still things I won't say to my dad. My dad and I have a wonderful working relationship to where, our hair down a good bit, but there's still lines that I'm not comfortable with. And I'm 46, 45 years old, somewhere in there. I don't know. I'll do the math. One of them. But I still don't feel comfortable saying certain things in front of my dad. I have cousins that'll pop off in front of him. And I kind of be like, whoa. So my dad will even say, oh, it's all right. I don't like it personally.
So let's hop into a scenario that we got into on one of our more recent recordings, and I'm sure that of the order, so it will be a recent in relation to this episode.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about entering a relationship as a blended family, right?
Yeah.
So you have a child that has been with the other parent and they have a dynamic, and now you're coming in.
Right.
Like, what was your experience? Did you lean more into the friendship approach with that, or was it like, how did it work for you?
Honestly, I assessed. I felt like I did a lot of assessing in the beginning. So obviously I'm trying to come in and not be the dictator, not be I'm your new daddy, son. Right. So when I met him, he was 6, 7 years old.
Right.
So still impressionable. So, but yet you still have a certain way of doing things. Your mom, your grandmother, y'all already have a dynamic, a vibe, an energy in the house. I have to be mindful of not coming in and being a disruption of that, because regardless of how right I am at that point, it's going to be resented. It's going to be rejected. I can't wait till I'm old enough to get away from this guy. He came in and ruined my life from day one. I didn't want to have or create that vibe or that feeling inside of him or me. That would have eaten me up, I wouldn't have been able to live with that. So I came in more so talking, communicating, joking, because that's naturally my personality, but not just jumping on him. Like if I saw something he had going on, I would defer it to my wife,
Yeah.
which was my girlfriend at the time. I'd kind of be like, hey, you might want to look at some of the things he's doing, the path that leads to.
Right.
There could be a problem. But as he became more comfortable with me, knowing that if I am correcting something, it's coming from a place of love,
Right.
not control. And that's, to me, coming into a blended family, to touch on that point, I think that's very important, that the child or daughter or son understands that I'm not trying to control you or replace your biological parent. I'm an extension. I'm a bonus. I'm an addition. So I want you to love and respect me enough to know that, man, let me at least listen to what he's saying. It's probably going to help me out because he hadn't done or told me anything wrong to this point.
Right.
Yeah.
So for my experience was a little different, but the approach was similar. So my oldest was just a couple months.
Right.
Because Keisha and I had a relationship before we were apart. Then we came back together. The child was in the picture.
Right.
So it was us getting to know each other again, but now it's in this new scenario, the words escape me, or dynamic with the child.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm having to learn that the way I had access to her before and expectations before are very different now.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't have the experience with children before where
Right.
this was, or you had the family experience. I hadn't had that before.
Oh.
So it was, okay, I'm sure about her. I'm accepting what comes with her now.
Right.
But I don't know how to parent. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then there's the dynamic with the biological father. It wasn't great initially.
Mm-hmm.
And I accept my immaturity in doing that process as well. And what that foundation did to me was I was always kind of a little hesitant in my approach, because I'm like, if at any point she doesn't like me, my oldest daughter
Right.
doesn't like me,
Right.
she can go to this other side and say, that happened. Right.
Yeah.
Or I don't like this, I don't like this guy. And I don't have there's no equity for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
she's so young and the situation's so new. So it did impact my parenting, my approach, because I never forced myself as a parent, but there's certain things that I just can't see and not, address.
Right.
And it's not you must, you shall, but it's, I know what my foundation is.
Mm-hmm.
And if your foundation is different with the child, then it's better for us, for everybody, that we just not try to.
Yeah, because that's oil and water.
Yeah.
If you were extremely liberal, like, oh, let that baby be. She's trying to find her way. Finding your way can be a bit far from what I'm accustomed to or open to.
She's
or
hanging
what
from
I
the
accept. So I can't do it, know. So that's another thing. I know we cater our conversation towards what we would say to our sons,
right.
But active parents now need that message, need that information. Even whether you're a bonus parent or that biological parent. Let's say, for instance, you're the biological parent, but your child lives with the other parent and their quote unquote step parent.
I can't imagine. I am that I am technically the step. We don't do steps around here. But,
correct.
But I can't imagine me being the biological and that happening.
So think about now, the time that you do get, you're trying to be the friend.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I got to make every moment count, so I can't waste my moments on chastising, correcting, or building, or not so feel good moments.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to say, hey, I'm going to spend the weekend with dad. But the whole time I'm over there, he's saying, I don't like how you do this. I don't like, oh, my kid going to not want to be around me anymore, not going to have a good time or have fun for this weekend that he's with me. It's a balance. I understand the logic, but are you doing more harm than good? Like, don't meet him at the door, military checkup. This what you're going to do. I get it.
Right.
But you can't let him just flip the car over.
Right.
For the sake of see you on my weekend in 2 weeks, son. Nah. You can't be afraid to alter the relationship for the sake of the betterment for the kid. And I've had this conversation with my 17-year-old and his cousin, the 18-year-old.
Right.
We had these conversations about I back off, and it seems like y'all stay on track for a little while, and then you'll start to dwindle. You know, your productivity falls off. And I told him straight, and I don't care. I love being friends with you guys. Right. I love our relationship. We laugh, we joke. But at the end of the day, if it takes you hating me to be successful in life, I'll take that charge.
Yeah.
You can hate my guts because I'm so stern in certain areas about men do this.
Yeah.
This is what a man is responsible for because it's too much on the line.
Yeah. And it's something that they don't yet understand, man. Like, you're preparing them for a world that they can't comprehend yet.
Right.
And they see it. We always talk about you know what you know up until right now.
Right. Right.
I'm a few minutes, years, decades down the block or up the street, and I have a perspective that you need to understand. That's I'm glad you mentioned the time element, because that was one of those things where, even though in my scenario, the child was around me, my oldest was around me more than her biological father and their family.
Yeah.
But it was always tiptoeing, like, going to spend some time with them. I don't know what they're putting.
Right.
I don't know what they're messaging.
Yeah.
I don't know what questions they're asking. I don't know if because I disciplined recently, that's going to come up, and now what we doing. Right. Because I mean, I was never abusive. I was waiting to see if my son was gonna make a noise. But but the oldest three, not even. I mean, the girls came first, so they didn't really get it. The adjustment was with my oldest son.
Yeah.
Like, I had to back off of that tradition of this is the result.
Right.
I didn't see you do this, or I didn't like how that turned out. This is how I was disciplined.
Yeah.
So that's whether it works for you or not. That's what I'm going to do, because that's what I knew. But the split influence, I think, probably has an impact on how friendly you are. And as time went on, and it was clear that my house was the nucleus family.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Right.
And now it's not that the biological didn't have any say, because it's never been that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we run the program. Like, this is the standard here, and this is where this is where the child lives.
Right.
Did you see the somewhat related, the it's not a meme, but the reel or the video where the stepdad was preventing the biological father from attending his son's birthday?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how old it is, but it's circulating pretty heavy right now. So the stepdad and the child's biological mother are a family unit. The biological father was trying to show up to the birthday, and the stepfather was like, "Nah, B."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
yeah, run that, because I want to see what's coming out your face.
Transparent moment.
Just with that basic bit of information.
Transparent moment. Without even knowing the background, I've been on both sides of that coin.
I have not.
And literally, because y'all got me now. He got me.
We in there.
My ex-wife remarried before I did. So, dude, cool. But there came a point,
right,
where I was reaching out to interact with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest son was getting ready to graduate high school. So he was a senior in high school. Word came to me about the graduation date. No communication. I didn't know the graduation date, location, times, anything. That's fine. That's open information. So I find all of this information out. So I reach out. I call. Hey, what's the plan coming up? You know what I mean? We're a year out. What's the Are we going to college? Are we going to military? Are we going into the workforce? I need to sit down and have some conversations. You know, I hadn't. This guy told me, let me talk to my wife and I'll let you know if we decide to give you any information. Who you talking to, cuz?
Who is that sound for?
who you talking
Your
to,
mouth
bro?
is moving.
So as you see, that brings me out of character.
Yeah.
So I have to be mindful of, let me walk over here. I told my wife about it because, you know, I have to talk.
Yeah.
I have to talk to her. When my top rattling,
Right.
I go talk to her. Am I wrong? Because I want to see this guy.
Right.
She was like, just hold on. So, other side of the coin, my son,
Mm-hmm.
without bashing his biological, there are some instances that I feel like, what we talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was an instance that he reached out for interaction.
Right.
And that's fine. It's okay. Move forward, do it. I didn't appreciate how some things went. So I made up in my mind, when I see this brother again, we're going to have a conversation. So when I see this guy, hey, let me go talk to you over here. Have a man conversation. My immaturity, my aggravation, I'm having an aggressive conversation with this man. I'm really trying to make him match my energy.
Right.
You know what I mean? He didn't bite on that. He was like, you're right. I agree. You're correct. But let me explain this. Let's talk about this. And I'm not trying to say I cowed the man out or anything, but he didn't match my ignorant energy. And I'm glad he did not, because I was in the moment of, I felt like a situation affected my son in a way. And I found myself in that conversation reiterating to him repeatedly, this is my son. I'm telling this man about his biological son. This is my son. And this is not how this is going to go. So depending on the background of that story for this birthday party, it could have been warranted and justified. But at the same time, I know how that dad felt too, because I've been on both sides and I met both with the same.
Right.
It drove me nuts. I wanted to go hand to hand on both scenarios.
So that's what you said was exactly what the guy with the stepdad in the video was saying. This is my son.
Yeah.
It's my son. I assumed that they were cohabitating or they were married. I don't know what the relationship was, but they were calling themselves the family unit and the biological was on the outside looking in. Did you compromise? Did any of that make you compromise your approach with the children from your first marriage?
Yes.
Where you tried to,
I haven't talked to my kids in years. Years. My oldest is now 22. My second son just graduated high school last month. I hadn't talked to them in years. My daughter is 12 now.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen her since she was probably 5, if that. Somewhere between 4 or 5.
Right.
So it's been easily 7 years since I've seen my daughter and my sons. I haven't seen them in years, but it's because of that scenario.
Yeah.
Not bashing, but facts are facts.
Right.
I have to stay away from her and this guy because it go bad. It go real bad. And I can't give that type of control over my emotions to anybody else.
Yeah.
So I'll catch them when they're adults and we'll start from scratch.
I got a couple friends that are going through that situation now where they're just not allowed to see their children.
Right.
And one, this year is the year that his child will be 18 and they can communicate directly.
Exactly.
And it's heartbreaking. And I can understand when relationships are strained out of your control. I can empathize with the desire to be more friend in the moments that you do have than they're gonna get this parenting.
Right.
Which your 5 minutes that weekend they spend with you and the year that they spend in that other environment,
Yeah.
it pales in comparison. We were able to talk as men, me and my oldest biological dad, early enough.
Yeah.
Right. It was some foolishness because for me, what we got each other to understand was we were married. I'm like, bruh, his thing was we don't know how to communicate. The two of them. He's like, he said, can I talk through you? I was like, oh, so, okay. So it's really an issue.
Right.
And it's not even about punking. And like the goal is not to have problems.
Right.
The challenge is we can't communicate.
Same.
Right.
Same.
And it's like, we had that conversation like, man, it can be everything every time we see each other to one of us, to neither one of us can provide for whatever families we have. Right.
Right.
It's
Right.
It's going to go that bad. And he was just like, both of us was like, that's not what your issue is not being able to communicate. Got it. My issue with you is whatever happens on that phone disrupts my house.
At the end of the day,
it's
my wife.
It's like, bro, I can't man to man or whatever, however it goes, I'm not going to live like that. He's like, can we communicate? So it was, and I'll never bash. It's not a dad bashing platform anyway.
Right.
But just like even thinking through those things out loud, I can understand like why it's friend zone time when I see you, because however we got here,
yeah,
we're here,
and I got to enjoy it.
I'm on limited
and that's
time.
what we did. I for a couple of years, we came with that same solution.
Yeah,
I communicated through him. I called him. He called me.
Right.
We talked. He relayed the information, and things went fine until a point.
Till it didn't.
So I agree with that.
Yeah. So do you think the friendship has, I don't want to say negative effect. I want to talk through how it affects differently based on the dynamic. So a dad raising a daughter, a mom raising a son, dad raising a son, mom raising a daughter. Well, we can't speak on moms raising daughters, but
right.
Just you can see the effects of the mother-son friend zone relationships, because sometimes it gets confused what the son's role is. Right.
Yeah.
And if there's not a father in the picture to model that, they are preparing to leave the house thinking that relationships go how they go with their mom friend.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And that's it's I think they miss a maturing aspect that can only be given through the lens of a father.
I agree with that. Yes, I agree with that, because you have to understand, let's say that dynamic, the nurturing of that mom and that son. And I can't say 100%, you know what I mean? We'll never do that, because now you discredit the whole statement.
Yeah.
But more often than not, and the statistics are there, that son will have an air of mom seeking in his relationships.
Gotcha.
So let's say now the women that he date, they're great relationship wise. They don't have that extra level of what he received from his relationship with his mom. So one or two things happen. Now you do end up finding a woman that does. And so now it's a different relationship, or a dynamic in a relationship that's kind of unhealthy anyway, because maybe someone's leading or guiding and things are out of perspective, out of whack.
Right.
You know, the dynamics are off now. Or she doesn't. She's a perfect mate in a good adult interaction type way, but because she doesn't, you'll never say this, but you're thinking, she's not my mama. She's not like mama.
Yeah.
She's not supposed to be in the way that possibly you're approaching it. You know what I mean? There can be attributes that your mom had that you admire,
right,
and you would love to see in your significant other.
Right.
But there are other things that your mom did for you that perhaps you'll never find in a mate that's going to make you feel that way, and perhaps shouldn't make you feel that way, because now you're kind of murking that thing up. You're blurring the lines, in
Yeah.
my opinion. So
Yeah, and it's the I know again no absolutes. Not speaking for all, we haven't spoken to all.
right,
But when there's the however, whatever the dynamic was that yielded the mother and son being left to, like, that's the extent of that family, that nucleus.
yeah,
Like sometimes there's my son can do no wrong, right? It's especially when the discipline is replaced with friendship.
yes,
Like I think he may struggle with, like you said, the lines getting blurred of what is expected of me and what I expect a woman based on that relationship with my mom.
I'm glad you said that because I saw a clip on the internet today where a young man, he must have went on some crime spree.
Mm.
He was in a pickup truck. He ended up in the middle of a field somewhere in the woods. And his mom was standing at the door of the truck. He's facing out. She's trying to talk him down or holding his hand. 3 sheriff trucks pull up on him. And I don't know what this kid did prior to this. And I say kid, these sheriffs get out, 2 in each vehicle, and they immediately draw weapons.
Mm-hmm.
2 commands later, everybody with a gun unloading into the truck, and the mom's standing right there.
Wow.
She falls and runs over into the tree line, and they never stop shooting that truck.
Wow.
So I say that to say, sometimes that lack of that discipline, because it's the friend,
Right.
the influenza case here in the DFW, where the judge, the lawyer, actually made a case that said this kid doesn't know what no means because of the type of lifestyle he had being
Wow.
raised, to where now he didn't know that was wrong what he was doing. Drunk, he drove a vehicle drunk, killed two other people in the car.
Wow.
Got away with it.
'Cause
Got
he
off.
didn't know.
Beat the whole thing. Ran to Mexico. They still hadn't found one of them, him or her. But anyway, I say that to say, now this kid, even if he breaks the rules, if he does something he's not supposed to do, he violates a young lady or anything, he feels like all he has to do is yell for his mom
That's it.
or his parent. It could be dad. I don't want to.
Right.
Please don't take what I said as moms create that only. Dads do it too.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say a certain NBA player name right now that they're saying perhaps if more influence from his father would deter some of his decisions he's making right now. We don't know that. We don't know the message or the conversations that have happened up to this point in his life.
Yeah.
But outside looking in, it does come across as though there could be conversations depending on the relationship dad has with his son.
Right.
Son, we're a little loose right now.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
we got to tighten up. I know you're an adult. I can't tell you what to do, but sound advice can always be sound advice regardless of the role.
Yeah.
You're an adult making an adult decision, but you're loose right now.
Yeah, and I don't take any of the onus away from the men at all, because I know of situations where the father and son relationships becomes the homie relationships because of the disdain that the father has for the mom of the child.
Man.
Right. So now, like, men are messy too.
Right.
Men are messy too. And
Yeah.
will put their mom on Front Street to create an image or perspective, shape a perspective in the child's mind that your mom was terrible to me. So be careful, son. Don't love them.
Right.
Run through them.
Right.
But, be safe and all, all
Whoa.
the stuff that it makes sense to be safe, but
Yeah.
being safe at the expense of breaking a young girl because she values love different than you do, and you're presenting yourself as somebody that wants what she wants just to get what you want.
Man.
I know that happens. I know that happens more times than not as well. So
Right.
no, the father's on all off the hook at all. I know relationships where men are like, my son is my best friend. I'm like,
my little broke best friend.
Yep.
Wait.
That's
Wait.
a fancy one. But yeah, and I think some people say it because they don't have other words for it. But I also think there's a part of the population that means that and know we're really friends.
Right.
We don't have enough time to unpack all of those, so we'll say good luck.
Yeah.
But no, tell us how you feel in the comments, man, because I don't get it. I think there's a point in life where you can be a friend later in life. And it maybe saying not be a friend at all is not
Yeah.
what I'm really trying to communicate. But when you prioritize that and deprioritize your actual responsibility as a parent,
Right.
because we just gonna kick it, we just gonna kick our way through life.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I'm not a big fan of that.
It's cringy to me. And people that know me, they know I'm not judging. You're gonna hear about it though, because if I can't tell you something I feel crazy about and you can't tell me something you feel crazy about, we're not friends at all.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna yes man you to death. But I do know people that the moment their sons turn 18 or 21,
Mm-hmm.
everything they do, good, bad, or indifferent, come on, son, do this with me. Let's go.
Right.
No, sir.
Just waiting. And
No, sir.
Some don't wait until 18.
No, sir.
Don't tell your mama this. This is our secret. Man, you know what kind of pressure, you know what you are doing psychologically to that child.
Man, so do it. Do you?
Watch me live this life, but don't tell your mama about that. I don't know how you want to do that in life.
You can't.
In
You
life.
cannot.
Anyhow, time is far spent, man.
Yeah.
Be parents to your kids, man. That's my take. That's my hot take.
Show what I got.
That's my hot take. Friend later.
Yeah.
But I'm very clear that, I'm your father. I'm not your friend. It is too much, like you said, too much on the line. I take the responsibility seriously. So.
Yeah. I'll be your friend, but it'll be a byproduct of this parenting.
Yeah.
Because if by now at this phase that all the things we've given you, your foundation tight, you're doing everything you're supposed to do. You're not perfect. I don't mean to be perfect.
Sure.
But I know your heart is genuine and pure. Right. You know what I mean? You actually care about mankind, the next person, the next human being. Care about yourself. As long as you're moving in that space, and I know you're respectful, I can let my guard down. So now if me letting my guard down and now we're friends,
right?
And I use that term loosely because you're not gonna cuss with me. yeah. There's conversations we not going.
Some hard fast ones.
We not partaking in,
Maybe
my
we
boy.
put that in the comments.
Yeah,
don't
do
five,
that.
Nah. Top 5, whatever the relationship.
We not listening to bust down together. I can't do it because that boy get loose.
That part.
That part. So just be mindful, but
yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's all I got. That's all I got. Pay attention.
Yeah.
These kids need it.
Like, share, subscribe. If you're still here, you should have commented twice. Otherwise, we appreciate you guys. God bless you. Peace.
They tried to count me out. I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account. Now I got something to spend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just pull it out and count for nothing when I'm feeling great. Give my baby love.